So hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing an inbox review of this Hotchkiss H35 light tank from Heller in 135 scale. You can see the parts count here on the box, 186 pieces. Depending on whether that can't be with single piece track, because single piece track is usually 160 to 180 pieces by itself. So it must have a rubber track. I like the camouflage patterns on these French tanks. They're different. They're a little complicated with these black stripes, I think, but still kind of cool. Here on the back we have our recommended paints, which just shows the numbers. I believe it's Humbrol paint. A little information. They designed this after World War I, in the mid-30s, and they still use a lot of them. Well, they still had a lot of them to use at the beginning of the Second World War, because they had some political problems, and the newer tanks they couldn't get produced in time because of that, or at least enough of them. Let's have a little look at the instructions here. Today it's pretty windy. You have a lot of information in different languages: French, English, German, Spanish. And here is a paints list again. It still doesn't say what brand they are. It just has the numbers to it. So, like normal, we start, and we see there's a little color here, but I think color on the instruction sheets isn't really as important as having a good model. They should, it costs money to print in color, and I would rather they put the effort into the kit and not into the. You need a good instruction sheet, but a black and white instruction sheet is good still. So here we start with we're building bogies on the first step here. Here's a rack and a spare road wheel with looks like a tow cable. This should be the exhaust. Of course, they're painting it in color, and it should be rusted unless it's a brand new tank. Here we have a chain and the tow shackles. This is part of the gun, number 5. And here's a gun tube, it looks like. Number 7 and 8, we're building figures. Number 9, building the turret. Here's the gun we built on number 5. Putting it in. And turret detail, commander's hatch here. Here's the other hatch on the back, and you see it's movable, which is kind of cool, because we're going to be putting the figure in there. It's going to have to be open. And here's the bottom of the turret. And here we're building some of the road wheels here, number 13 of 14. 15, we're working on putting the upper hull together. We have a lot of different parts for it. I see. Okay, so it's one of the separate piece hulls with a bottom. There's a bracket here in the middle, the side piece, the front piece, the top, and the back, and the other side with the fenders as well. All separate pieces. So it's going to take some care getting that square, which this bracket will help with that. Number 16, okay, we have the back deck, the exhaust, which is number 6, like I said, but wouldn't be painted in a color. Maybe put some base color on it, probably the green or something, but then really weather, rust. Here's the driver's hatch. Sprockets on the front here, support rollers with the support roller arms. with these, that's not a support roller arm, it goes here on the top of the fender. I'm not really sure what that is. And here on the front is this piece, I'm not sure what that is either. Some of the tools already going on, and there's more tools here by number 17, along with some more hull detail and the bogies, which we built in the first step. The toe shackles here, and the driver's hatch here. And then we have a tarp or a tent or something that goes here on the front, with the spare road wheel and the tow cable that goes here on the back. Oh, that's the back, not the front, sorry. The toe panels for the back. Some more details. The toe shackles on the toe panel here. Some more details and the tools. Got some cable cut, some wire cutters, a pickaxe, a shovel, and the barrel rod. And the last step here, you're putting in the figure here in the back for the commander. You're putting the track together. You see it's a rubber one-piece track. And then here we have our two versions. Now, it's in French, I don't really understand, but 18th Dragoons, 3rd Platoon, I think, 4th Squadron, 1937, I'm not really sure what that is. And this is the 4th Cuirassiers, 3rd Platoon, 2nd Squadron, 1940. Looking at the pictures, I'm not sure what I would build. They both look pretty interesting. Camouflages. It'd be maybe nice to build both of them. Have an early one and a later one. So here's the decal sheet for this Hotchkiss. The two versions from the 3rd Platoon 4th Squadron and the 3rd Platoon 2nd Squadron. They look pretty nice, actually. They don't look very thick, but they don't look like they're protected very well. May need a coat of a clear coat on it before they're used. It's hard to really tell. They look pretty clear, and they're pretty, they look good, I think. And you have turret numbers, the vehicle numbers, the symbols, the roundels, these symbols here for, the squadron symbols, I think. They look good, I think. So let's take a look at the parts now. Here we have the track. It's actually, it's like rubber, but it's soft. It's really flexible. Both sides look okay. There's pin marks here on the inside, but they're really light. They should be able to get them off really easily. They look okay. They look like they're already, with the soft plastic, they should sag by themselves, I think, unless it's too tight. But you can probably heat it up a little bit, maybe with the hairdryer or something, and get that sag in there. And here is also a rubber tow cable. Here is the rubber tow cable. It looks okay too. So here's a tree, and here we have our hull pieces. Here's the fenders, the sides, the bottom, the front of it, the front of the hull. I think this is the back of the hull. This is the top of the hull and the front of the hull. And here's the plate that goes in the middle, plus all the parts for the bogies. So here's the inside. So this is the bottom. You see there's really no detail on this bottom piece. Here on the sides of the hull is also not a lot of detail. Plus there's pin marks here. And you have a little detail around the sprocket cover here. The bogies look okay. I think they could probably use a little bit more detail. Should probably be some bolts or something in there. There's no, I don't see any rivets at all here on any of it. There's no pin marks here, but there's some small pin marks here, which shouldn't really be a problem. They won't be seen. And we've got flash. Came off easily. Here it actually says Hotchkiss on the piece. There. Here we do have some rivets or bolts. The top of the fenders look pretty good. There's some bolts around here, as well as here along here. And you see it's a pretty small tank. It's about that long. That's like 6 inches maybe. So it's a small tank. It wouldn't be a problem to build 2 of them actually. It wouldn't take up a lot of room. Build one of each version. So it looks like it has 2 back pieces for it. Not really sure what the difference is, except for, you know, you see the vents are different. I mean, that you can see. But I didn't see any instructions on the different vents. Or the different pieces. Here's the exhaust. It is a dual piece, a 2-piece exhaust, but I think it's going to be really too thin to really get much of a hollowness out of it. But you might be able to sand this down, or grind it down a little bit here, to get a roundness to it. But carefully. Here's the other exhaust piece. The Pioneer tools look okay. The more parts to the bogies, I think. The toe shackles, the sprockets look okay. Road wheels look good. Except for, okay, on the back side there are pin marks. Here are also pin marks. Here's the roll. I don't know if it's a tent or a net or whatever. So it has quite a bit of detail parts to it. Here's the third tree. This is mostly turret parts, the hatches. Here you have the gun. You see it's pretty much a 4-piece gun. It has here the back and here the front. Here's your 2 parts to the turret. There's a bit of detail here on the top, some bolts. There is no texture to it though. It's flat plastic. The gun looks okay, except for here are pin marks. Those are probably going to have to be filled in. Those are going to have to be filled in because it's going to be noticeable. I wish they would put pin marks on the inside and not on the outside. That's kind of stupid. Not good engineering. The hatches look okay, but I wouldn't leave them open because there's a lot of molding problems here. So I wouldn't put the screws in, which I don't do anyways usually. It does have quite a few detail parts. You know, here we have our crew members on this tree. And, well, we have 2 crew members. You see a lot of separate parts. You have the front and the backs are separate. The back and the chest piece. So you're going to have to deal with some mold lines, or, well, not mold lines, but where you glue them together, you're going to have to sand it down, clean it up and stuff. And but the cloth looks good on them. I think it'll build into a nice tank, but it could use a lot more detail. It needs texture, and I think it has enough detail parts, but it's going to need texture at least. And I don't know. I don't have really problems with the rubber track, but I'm sure there's probably separate track pieces maybe out there. I'll link it in the description like I always do, and in the video if I find some. I think it'll build into a decent looking tank though, but it is missing a little detail. I think there's rivets missing, as well as some bolt heads. Don't really have to look at some pictures to see what it's missing. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. You know, my next video will be taking a look at this SPD-4 Dauntless from Hasegawa in 1/48 scale. It's a kit that I've already built, and I think it's a nice one. So we'll take a look at that. Until then.